and we have war, apparently without end. Probably 1 million Iraqis have died as a result of the Bush-Cheney invasion. Several millions more have been made homeless. Tens of thousands of civilian casualties have been the result of aggression in Afghanistan. The Middle East has been seriously destabilized, and there is more war with predictable consequences on the horizon. I don't need to mention Iran. I strongly suspect that when we come here together again, the next time we'll be talking about war against Iran as well. The paper's wet. That's the problem with these rainy day rallies. It all sticks together in a soggy mess. Well, the problem with the war on terror is that it's a fraud. It's a fraud. You can't fight terror by producing it. And we are producing terror to a degree, incidentally, that's massively out of proportion to the terror that triggered the war in the first place. We can't make peace through war. This is hypocrisy. Democracy won't spring from war. It won't spring from aggression. How can anyone imagine that the Bush-Cheney regime wants democracy when they have over and over again demonstrated their contempt for it? The war and the vocabulary that protects it is a cover for expanding American and Israeli hegemony in the Middle East and for constructing a police state in North America. So what is the vocabulary that legitimates and propels and perpetuates this war? Well, part of that vocabulary is support our troops. Part of this vocabulary in the United States and in Canada is the vocabulary of support our troops. And speaking of Canada, what's Canada's role in this? Well, Canada is a junior partner in the Bush-Cheney project. Harper is one of Bush's lapdogs. The Canadian role in Afghanistan is to support and enable and facilitate the U.S. aggression in the Middle East. Why aren't we clear about this in Canada? Why don't we understand this? Well, one of the reasons is, it seems to me, is that there has been a deliberate attempt to narrow the focus on this conflict, to obscure the context behind it. We don't even want to connect Afghanistan to Iraq and Iran, although these interventions are intimately linked. We want to separate them. We want to look at Canada for its good works in Afghanistan. We want to talk about the good intentions of our Canadian boys. We want to focus on the despicability of their enemies. We want to dehumanize these enemies, as General Hillier so memorably put it, as murderous scumbags. And support our troops, it seems to me, is part of this effort at obfuscation. Support our troops intimidates, it ends conversation, it blurs over complexities, it simplifies that which is very, very complicated. We're asked to support the troops, but to what end? What are we supporting them in doing? Can we support them without supporting what they're doing? Does it make sense to say support the troops but don't support the war? The analogy that I always think of is of a sibling or a child, a brother or sister, or a son or daughter. And let's say that this sibling or child, this family member, is engaged in destruction and murder. Let's say that this sibling or child, perhaps, in the course of this destruction and murder, sometimes does good things, okay? How about the mob? Let's think of the Sopranos, okay? Tony Soprano he can be a generous guy. He can help people out. He can give a struggling neighbor a break. He can, give a dime to a poor person on the street. He might even engage in charity, right? I mean, he likes to protect his image. He likes to look good. He likes people to look up to him. But the general thrust of his enterprise, the overarching consequence of it, is murder. Tony Soprano and the mob that he supports is a murderous mob. So what do we do with our family member who's caught up in this? What do we do with the person who works for Soprano and who does some good things sometimes? Do we support this family member? No. We try to pull him or her back. We try to make him or her see the errors of their way. We try to make him or her safe. We may sympathize with the plight of this person, our family member. We may sympathize, we may empathize. We may even be able to see ourselves in the same situation and think how unfortunate that would be, how tragic it would be. But we don't support that person. We don't support that person. Support means a kind of uncritical support. And I think that the Fredericton Peace Coalition has been right on the mark in complicating this issue and calling it into question. And I think we need to continue to question, support our troops. We need to continue to question the Canadian role in this. We need to continue to see the complexities of this issue. We need to continue to resist the sort of binary bullshit that we hear all the time, this sort of us versus them, good versus evil crap, because that it's flat out wrong. And we can do it here. What is Canada's role? What ought Canada's role to be? Well, Canada can say no troops. Canada can say no to Afghanistan. Canada can play a constructive role in the world. Canada can historically has a tradition that has moved in that direction. This isn't a perfect country, but Jesus Christ, we can do better than we're doing now. And I hope that you'll all join with me in trying to make that happen. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. Let's give a big hand for Jeff. Running to some new people here. Again, if you want to speak, come up. We'll sign you to the clipboard. Next, we have Brian from the ISSE.
Hey there. Like you said, my name is Brian. I'm speaking on behalf of the ISSE, which is the student branch of the Socialist Equality Party. And there's one basic message that I want to get across today. And that is that these protests, in and of themselves, are not capable of bringing an end to the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Nor will they be able to prevent an invasion of Iran. Something more is needed. I've taken part in these demonstrations for years now, including the massive mobilization that took place on February 15th, 2003, on the eve of the war in Iraq. And this was the largest demonstration in history. Tens of millions of people took to the streets to try and stop the war. And what effect did this have on the Bush administration? Bush just shrugged his shoulders and said something like, "Isn't it great that we live in a democracy where people are free to express their opinions?" And then they went on with their invasion of Iraq. And since that time, 4,000 coalition soldiers have been sent to their deaths. And according to an opinion research business survey, an estimated 1.2 million Iraqis have been killed. Then, of course, there are the millions more that have been turned into refugees. And I think it is safe to say that the invasion of Iraq has brought about the destruction of an entire society. And now, it is becoming increasingly clear that the Bush administration has made up its mind to go to war with Iran. We're hearing the same lies being spread about weapons of mass destruction and terrorist links in relation to Iran that we heard before regarding Iraq. Iran has a population 3 times the size that of Iraq, and an invasion of this country will have an even more devastating consequences than the invasion of Iraq has had.